Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review The Girl in the Trunk. And this is from writer-director Jonas Vist Jensen, and this film focuses on a young woman, played by Katarina Sporer, who winds up being kidnapped, put in the trunk of a car, and she's dealing with the reasons why she was alone renting this car in the first place, and while dealing with, this person who has kidnapped her and is toying with her as she's in the trunk. Now, this seems like a really interesting high concept idea, except I've seen at least a couple other movies within the past year or even months or so come out that are this exact same thing. How does this film stand out? Doesn't necessarily. There's an interesting dynamic between the young woman and the kidnapper in terms of their interactions. There's a lot of toying with her, him pretending to be people on the phone and stuff like that. You do have some elements where it's trying to add depth to this story based off of her personal life with her father and her family, which isn't particularly nuanced or interesting or dynamic in any particular way, but at least it's trying to add some depth. It's very confined to this car. I think there's some interesting camera work that they wind up using in this film. Cinematographer Tobias Bendigsen is interesting. There's a couple of choice ways of peering through little holes and stuff like that in terms of how it's shooting, and that's interesting. But also, you can tell that this is on a really small budget because some of those shots incorporate some special effects and they do not look realistic, and that also is challenging, kind of takes you out of the film. I think this confined space, it drags a little bit narratively in terms of trying to stretch this out to a whole 90 minutes and making this a whole narrative to try to be a feature film. And in general, I don't think it does anything particularly new or interesting to stand out from some films that did the exact same thing this does in a potentially better way. It has some thrilling moments. It has some solid attempts at character work to try to make us empathize and care more for this young woman. In general, it accomplishes its goal of trying to hit on this particular high concept idea. It's just not particularly interesting in the way that it does it. But if you're into thrillers, this is a rock solid one. But those are my thoughts on The Girl in the Trunk. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.